Alright guys, let's hop into it. Let's check out all of the effects of the Malignant Hearts coming into Season 1. So, starting right off, let's go over basically kind of how it works. So, there are 4 different types of hearts. 3 of them are colored, 1 of them is considered a colorless one. So how it works is you're going to get these items and you're going to be putting them inside of your jewelry. So that means you get to pick 3 hearts. Now, your jewelry will randomly drop with the color, or you can add a socket to actually have a color on it. As far as I'm aware of, I'm not sure if there's any way to change the colors other than just getting a completely new item, but that's basically the system in a nutshell. Now, obviously, we'll want to know what are the effects. You can see this one over here. This is one that they showed off during the live stream. So certain numbers can actually be changed. This is only a level 2, and I'm not sure if we can level these up, but as far as I'm aware of, you can put newer ones on top of them, and obviously when you get a better one, you just put it and it will replace it, which will basically destroy it, and these are account bound, so you cannot trade them. So starting right off, Polygon actually had the entire article with all of the actual effects, which I don't know how they got this before anyone else, before any of the data miners, but they got the info, so take it with a grain of salt, as I didn't see any hard stats in terms of data mine, so take it again with a grain of salt. Anyways, starting right off, let's go ahead and check out the powers. So starting right off, there are some that are going to be class specific, and some of them are going to be for a very specific color, so keep that in mind as well. I don't know if there's a limitation on how many you can have for you can only have 1 red and then let's say 1 blue and 1 pink and then 1 colorless. I don't know if there's any rules with that. Anyways, starting right off, these are going to be the offensive ones. So starting right off, they have this one where your critical strikes electrically charge the enemy for a set duration. This number as well as this number can actually change. So all the numbers basically can scale, I'm guessing, with its level on top of the drop. So it charges them, and then it causes lightning to arc in between the targets and any other charged enemies, dealing some set amount of lightning damage. Next one over here is called the Dark Dance, and keep in mind, read where it says in the column for the class, and then obviously, the effect, we'll go over the effects, but some of these are locked potentially to certain classes only. Maybe it's a class drop only, but some of them, obviously spending Fury, you're not going to spend Fury on a Necromancer, right? Anyways, next up we have the Dark Dance. So every 5 seconds while above 60% life, core skills cost life instead of your primary resource. Skills that consume life deal a percent of increased damage. Now, this could be very interesting with the ring that just got buffed, the ring aspect, where if you get to heal for amount of your life, you also get to heal a set amount of resource. So this could be very interesting if you're able to run a build that has high sustain on some sort of life on hit, which could be very big. Next up, we have Tempting Fate. You gain 40 to 60% crit strike damage, but your non-critical strikes deal some sort of less damage. So overall, you're getting more damage as long as you have over 50% crit. It's like 20% extra crit strike damage overall. Next up though, Focus Rage. After spending, this is Barbarian only, so it's after spending 60 to 100 Fury within 2 seconds, your next non-basic skill's critical strike chances increase by 20 to 30%. Okay, so this could be kind of nice, considering if you are able to just hold something down like Whirlwind, if it activates the whole duration, and get 30 percent extra crit strike chance. And keep in mind, all of these can maybe change, so maybe you're going to cost yourself less Fury as you progress, and on top of that, this may actually be able to be increased further. Next up though, we have the Moon Rage, which is a druid one. It says kills have a 5% chance to summon a wolf companion to your side for 20 to 30 seconds. In addition, you just gain 3 wolves. Next up though, the Sacrilegious, which is a Necromancer one. Walking near a corpse automatically activates an equipped corpse skill every second, dealing 40 to 30% reduced damage. This could be actually pretty big, just an automatic corpse explosion. It's kind of nice just in general. I'm not sure what the distance is. It says walking near it. Does that mean you have to actually walk over it? Because if you can just use the Blood Mist aspect and on top of that get double corpse explosion, I'm not sure if that would work or if that would consume it first. Who knows? Either way, this could be kind of something for some automation builds. Next up though, we have the Cluster Munitions, which is Rogue. So you have a lucky hit, you have up to a 20% chance to release 3 stun grenades that deal some small amount of physical damage and stun the enemies. Even with the evade, I don't see anyone realistically using it, but it does technically provide a stun, and you can do bonus damage to stun targets. If you're able to get this lucky hit chance up to a very, very high percent, then maybe you're looking at something viable, but for the most part, it doesn't seem super OP. This is my first time checking these out, by the way, so you get my reaction on these. Next up, we have Tal Rasha. So for each unique element you do damage with, you deal 7 to 12% increased damage for X amount of seconds over here. Okay, so that's kind of fun. It incorporates some ideas, but this isn't super insane. Remember, on the live stream, they said these were going to be super broken. So far, in terms of all of these, do I see anything that's super broken? This one maybe has some potential, depending on, how high does this actually scale for damage over here. And maybe the Dark Dance would be looking like the more powerful one, but at least this one is available for everyone, so you can just keep on spending your HP instead of resource, and then have some sort of extra way to gain some HP. And then you don't have really too much of a downside. So next up, though, these are the defensive ones. So those were the offensive ones. I was really hoping to see something insanely powerful. Keep in mind, guys, they said that these were going to be broken in the live stream. Maybe this crit strike chance can go up to 100%. That would be pretty crazy. If I'm thinking broken, that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about versus just seeing these small numbers here. But anyways, next up we have the defensive ones. So we have Lionheart. This is for all classes. You gain a 10% barrier generation. You heal 3 to 7 life per second while you have an active barrier. Okay, so this plus the other one, now we have some combos. I like that. Obviously, later in the game, hopefully it's not 3 to 7 life. It's going to get way higher, right? And then Revenge, we have 10 to 20% of incoming damage is instead suppressed. Wait, they have spell suppression in this? Wow, that's really surprising. I don't even know what is spell suppression in this game. I have no idea. But anyways, it says... when you use a defensive subterfuge or macabre skill, wait, this is necromancer. Okay, I guess this would be like this is barb maybe, and this is like rogue. All suppressed damage is amplified by 250% and explodes, dealing up to some set amount of fire damage to nearby enemies. And if this is the lower number, I mean, heck, this could maybe be pretty dang good. So I'm not sure exactly what suppression is. Is that like damage reduction, or does that mean we don't take damage? Again, that's kind of vague on this. Maybe it's a new mechanic they're adding. Next up, we have Prudent Heart. You become immune for 2 to 4 seconds after you lose more than 20% life in a single hit. This effect can only occur once every 110 seconds. That duration is just way too long. I mean, it's like 2 minutes over there. But again, if you can reduce this to like 20-30 seconds, that could be kind of nice, especially for PvP. This could be really, really insane, especially against a Hoda Barb. The question is can you actually get one-shotted still? Does it make it so you can't past the threshold? This could actually be pretty big against poison in PvP as well. Not that, there's not many people playing PvP, but it definitely would help out against any build that just, again, uses a dot. So next up, this is for Barbarian. Well below 40 to 60% life, you receive 50 to 60% more healing from all sources. Okay. Next up, we have the Agitated Winds. When 8 to 13 close enemies automatically class Cyclone Armor, cannot occur more than once every 10 to 20 seconds. That's a decent amount of enemies, 13 or 8. But if you can get this down to like 2 or 3 enemies, might be not too bad. Next up, though, we have the Necromancer. It says, when at least 5 enemies are near you, you gain an aura that automatically curses the surrounding enemies with Decrepify for 5 to 15 seconds. Okay, and this one has like no cooldown. Okay. Kind of cool. I like that one. That's pretty awesome for like automation. Again, they're making Necromancer a lot more powerful in terms of automation. Next up, though, for Rogue, we have Trickery. It says, when you use a subterfuge skill, leave behind an unstable shadow decoy trap that taunts enemies. The shadow decoy trap will explode after 6 seconds, dealing some set amount of shadow damage. It cannot occur more than once every 5 seconds. Okay, that can be kind of cool. It's definitely thematic to what it does in terms of having like some sort of like a stealth build. I like this idea. Really, really cool. I hope just this actually becomes insanely powerful, because a lot of these things, because they're not considered like a core skill, or like in, let's say, like the Cutthroat category, all these damage bonuses that we have on our pieces of gear, it won't scale it. It's just going to be a little bit lackluster if these numbers don't go astronomically high. And remember, these are supposed to be broken from their own words. Next up, though, we have Spell Breaking. It says, after taking elemental damage, you gain 20 to 40% resistance to that element for 5 seconds. Okay. Again, resistances are kind of bad anyways, so maybe this will be good in Season 2, if this even goes to the next season, or if they fix it, because I think they said they're not fixing resistances until Season 2. But now we have Devious. So these are utility based ones and fit into the purple sockets. Oh, did they tell us colors? Oh, so okay, these are the blue. The first one over here are the red. So red is offensive, blue is defensive, and then we have the Devious, which is purple, and the last one's going to be the colorless ones. So remember, you have to have the item have that correct color. So starting right off, we have utility. So Determination. Resource draining effects are 40 to 50% less effective. In addition, gain 3 to 8% increased resource generation. I'm not sure what a draining effect is. Is this when like you have an enemy that's draining, or is this on like some sort of like when you're using a channeled skill, it kind of drains as you're using it? So maybe a buff to Whirlwind. I mean, if it's 50% less resource when you're using Whirlwind, this could be massive. Okay, this is where I would say this is pretty like, not where it's like, I consider it like broken, but it's like, it's a pretty dang good thing on top of getting extra resource. This could be more in the category what I was thinking like would be insanely powerful. Next up, though, we have Retaliation, which is deal some sort of fire damage to surrounding enemies whenever a crowd control effect is removed from you. Oh, I wonder if there's a way to self-apply this. This would be like more PoE level of like big brain builds, and I like this kind of idea. And because there's no cooldown on it, this could be pretty insane if you are able to self-inflict something. I don't know if there's... Let me know, guys, if there's anything that can do self-inflict in terms of like crowd control to yourself. Next up, though, we have the Calculated. After spending 50 to 200 of your primary resource, your next attack stuns enemies hit for 2 seconds. Okay, I mean, that's definitely good for the Sorceress, as that's something that you do want. And this is for all the classes. Now, next up, this is for Barbarian. It says our skills have a 20 to 30% chance to knock down all enemies for 1.25 seconds when that skill's attack speed is higher than 35 to 20%. Okay, so as long as you have... That's actually really easy. This is pretty dang good. Actually, yeah, this is very, very, very powerful. But again, I wouldn't consider this like a broken levels. Unless it was like 100% of the time, you'd be able to knock down every single thing. Next up, though, this Druid one says up to 30 to 50% distance enemies are pulled toward you while you have an ultimate skill active. Okay. So just in total, you have a 50 enemies can get pulled to you, or is it just like a one time up to 50 and then that's it every one time you activate your ulti? Okay. Anyways, next up we have Frozen Terror. This is a lucky hit for a Necromancer. It says up to a 10 to 20% chance of inflicting fear for 2.5 seconds. Feared enemies are chilled for 20 every second. Okay, so considering that's like, what is that, like 40, that's like 50%. Okay, so if you have something with really high lucky hit, I don't know, it could be okay. Maybe in PvP someone will try something, because fear in PvP is actually pretty big, because I don't believe it scales with like the rest of like the duration reduction on things, and that's pretty powerful. Again, the Butcher's thing, if you guys have seen that TikTok clip that we uploaded, or YouTube shorts, yeah, it was actually pretty good. Next up, though, Clip Shot. This is lucky hit up to a 20 to 40% chance for your Cutthroat skills to slow by 40% for 3 seconds, and your Marksman skills to knock back enemies. Okay. Interesting. The chance to slow enemies, I'm not sure if I would feel like that's going to be super OP. It does apply the slow to enemies, so you can, if you have bonus damage to slowed targets or crowd control, sure. But this is not where I would consider like it's super OP. But the marksman skills knocking back enemies could actually be pretty nice, not only to have more survivability, but also to actually activate some of the things where it's like if you knock back the enemy and then you get extra crit against them. So that's okay. Next up, that we have Spite, which is the Sorceress. It says, when you are afflicted with a crowd control effect, there is a 20 to 40% chance that that same enemy and enemies around you are also afflicted with the same effect. Oh, okay. I was hoping it was when you afflict it on your enemies, therefore you can now have the retaliation to be super, super powerful. But I guess it could be interesting to see if you roll like a dungeon that has a bunch of like negative effects, and then now they are afflicted by it, so now you can have your Ice Shard Sorceress delete like the entire screen. Kind of cool. Alright, so this is Wrathful. These are going to be... Okay, so these are the superpowers. Okay, I hope this is the broken stuff that they were talking about, I'm hoping. Can fit into any colored socket and jewelry like all other heart types. There are 3 class agnostic Wrathful hearts, okay, and 1 unique Wrathful heart per class. So, so these are uniques, because we did find out about them having unique ones in a more recent video. So starting off, we have these super malignant powers. So let's check this out. So the Malignant Pact, for all classes, says cycle through Malignant bonus every 20 kills. Vicious gain 20% attack speed. Devious, core, and basic skills have a 15% chance to fully restore your primary resource. Ooh, that's just not on lucky hit too. That's just a 15%. And then Brutal, every 21 seconds gain a barrier absorbing some sort of amount of damage. Remember, these numbers could be increased. Now, actually, I did see like this one was actually kind of sort of halfway leaked. And I say halfway leaked because what happened was they showed it off and it was basically very transparent, and you had like barely make out what the heck this thing actually was. So I think I saw on like Rob's channel, there's another Diablo content creator, fantastic creator, by the way, awesome player. But nonetheless, he was talking about this, and he actually was thinking and theory crafting how you would use this is it's every 20 kills, right? So what you would do is you would rotate to the correct one that you want, and then go try to fight a very specific boss. So this could be Lilith, right? Or any of the bosses in the game that would be very, very powerful. I mean, technically, maybe even on a world boss, you could save it up for that. I'm talking about really utilizing, I think, Devious. This one, core and basic skills have 15% chance to fully restore your entire set of resource. That is actually very, very, very powerful. This one is, I think, one of the best ones. Again, if you're looking at certain skills like Whirlwind, where you're able to hit a lot of times very fast, or even Rapid Fire, you're shooting so fast, right? This could be something to really consider. Obviously, yeah, you can't just like, have this one up 100% of the time unless you're fighting a very specific boss or you're going into a zone or something, or maybe if you're trying to PvP and you don't kill anything around it, you would have that like bonus, that you want. But yeah, this one in particular seems like it could be very good. It's just the Devious core part of it. Anyways, next up we got Creeping Death. So as your damage over time effects are increased by 30 to 40% for each different crowd control effect on the target. Oh, okay, that could be actually pretty good. And then Unstoppable Monsters and Staggered Bosses instead take 110 to 130% increased damage from your damage over time effect. So this could be really good for parties if for each different crowd control effect on the target, not that you apply. It says your damage over are increased by 30 for each crowd control effect on the target. So I'm not sure. As long as you don't have to apply it, that means if you have a barbarian that's applying bleed, you have a rogue that's applying poison, like if you can get all of these different effects to apply, you get, all of the bonuses. That could be pretty dang nice. Next up, though, we have the Barber as a D3 item. Critical strikes and all subsequent damage within 2 to 4 seconds is absorbed by your target. Then, the absorbed damage erupts into surrounding enemies. Store damage is increased by 10% per second. Okay, so that means, you can deal more damage, but it's going to be taking a little bit more time. I'm not sure if this, if it's just literally 10% and it's like some additive damage, then it's pretty weak. But if we're talking like multiplicative, I still think that overall it's kind of weak compared to just getting that flat like lightning on crit, right? Next up, though, we have Ignoring Pain. Incoming damage has a 5 to 15% chance of being ignored and instead healing you. Wow, that could be very interesting. Oh, this, by the way, is Ignoring Pain. That's Barbarian only. So the other ones where all classes can run those. Next up, though, the Unconstrained Beast. So this is a druid one. It says when you are hit with a stun, freeze, knockdown effect, there is a 40 to 60% chance to automatically activate Grizzly Rage for 3 seconds. Okay, that's kind of cool. Again, if you can get this, chance to be very, very high, and then on top of that, this to be an increased duration, could be something to consider as well. Next up, though, we have the Great Feast. This is a Necromancer one that says each minion drains 1 to 2 essence per second, but deals 50 to 75% increased damage. With no minions, this bonus is applied to you and drains 5 essence per second. Okay, so it's kind of like the Barbarian unique that we had. It was like I think it was like a sword, Ramelandes or something like that. So you drain your resource, but you're gonna get a massive amount of extra damage. Next up, though, for the Rogue, this is the Vile Apothecary. So it says your attacks have a 5 to 15% chance to apply all imbuement effects at 40 to 50% of normal potency. Again, if we can get this number to like maybe 50%, again, these were supposed to be super broken. This just seems like kind of like a legendary power, or this is like a unique item that is just kind of shoved under the rug for the most part. I wanted to see more broken stuff, and I think that we're pretty much getting towards the very end here, which makes me kind of disappointed. Omnipower, Sorcerer, core skills that launch a projectile consume all of your mana. Wow, okay. For every 45 to 35 extra mana consumed, you launch an additional projectile, and the damage is increased by 3 to 5%. Okay, this one's actually kind of cool, but it does consume all of your mana, and if you're able... Wait, hold on. What about the thing that uses your HP? Can it consume all of your HP and you just one-shot yourself? I don't think that would work, but that would be funny if it would allow it to. I like kind of crazy things in games. This is the kind of stuff that I like, though, where it's more crazy versus like, oh, there's a chance. Like a 5 to 15 is so low, right? But if it's like every single attack, I think that, it is all imbuements. I'm not sure what normal potency means. Does that mean like if I put 9 points into poison, does that mean we just don't get that? But this could actually be pretty good. If you can get this up to 50%, I think it'd be good. But if this is like the broken effects, right, and the max roll on it in like level 100, if it's only a 15% chance, then I still think that it's a little bit underwhelming, but it still has some potential, especially for attacks that can be very fast, maybe like Twisting Blades, because Twisting Blades can hit like 5 times. So this could could be actually pretty dang good. But again, I would like for these numbers to get way higher. I mean, they hyped it up themselves. They said that these are supposed to be broken, and as far as I can tell, there is a lot with potential. Again, it really comes down to, what are these numbers? Are these numbers the perfect rolls? Is 13 the end game roll? Because what they were showing off earlier on, and this one's still pretty decent, especially earlier on, for this to be a level 2, although this requires us to be level 20, just dealing 64 lightning damage consecutively to anything that is crit. I think that is pretty cool. But anyways, that's going to be all of the legendary powers over here, guys. Let me know what you thought of them. Do you guys think that they're actually broken? Are you underwhelmed? Are you overwhelmed? Did they exceed your expectations? For me, I'm honestly pretty underwhelmed by these. I wanted to see some actually broken things, but they could still be broken. It just comes down to, like, you know, what are these numbers, right? So, like, you know, if these numbers become huge, then yeah, of course it can be. But you know, you could say that with everything. But we'll have to wait and see. And obviously, I'll update you guys with a tier list once we get our hands more on these, so we can see maybe what the highest roll is. And if you guys do want to see that, and this is your first time here, subscribe to the bell, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. I'm out.